Welcome to the Mystical Mermaid Lounge podcast, a space where all spiritual seekers are honored and celebrated. This podcast was born from the journeys of your hosts, who have each faced her own dark night of the soul, but they've emerged with an unshakable belief in divine connection, cosmic inspiration, and her true life's calling. Join us on a journey of personal growth, transformation, and magical self-discovery. Your first co-host is Chloe Brown, a gifted intuitive empath and shadow work life coach. Your second co-host is Keone Starr, an intuitive energy worker and acclaimed past life regressionist. The Mystical Mermaid Lounge podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Mystical Mermaid Lounge. This is Chloe, and I have my lovely co-host, Keone, with us. I am introducing all of you to Melissa Gentile Bishop. She is a psychic medium, successful business owner, a holistic coach, and she embodies the essence of wholehearted living. Melissa's holistic approach includes not only personal development, but also physical health, emotional intelligence, and spiritual growth. She is a practitioner of the revolutionary love program that aims to release energetic blocks in our body that stops us from feeling worthy or that created shame and or guilt from belief systems and or patterns that we were taught. And it reprograms the flow of the body so we can live fully in our whole selves. And we will absolutely have all of your information in our show notes so we can connect all of our listeners to you and your program. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is Keone. I was telling Melissa that her Past Lives Cafe podcast episode had so many downloads and people asking for more information on the Revolutionary Love Program, affectionately known as the RLP, that we just couldn't wait to get her on this podcast.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have a studio in Dover called Wholehearted. I have multiple healing modalities available at my practice. I believe that one size doesn't fit all. My healing journey has been amazing in that I've been able to tap into so many different forms of healing that I wanted to bring that to other individuals. This is a journey. So each step you learn something new and you're like, every time you think you're there, right? The spirit gives you another little dose of something. And you got to work through it. I've had enough doses that I was like, well, okay, I'm ready to share this with other people. I mean, the biggest reason for me that I love doing this work is I wish I had someone hold my hand at 30 and help me understand better my trauma and things so I didn't suffer for so damn long. I sat in my shit and I kept thinking I was doing something right, but it just was never coming to life. And now, 20 years later, I feel like I'm just finally living my life full of love and vibrance and authentically who I am. And I love doing that with other people so they can find their strength and shine so friggin' bright because we're all beautiful in our uniqueness. And I'm not about fitting into a box, never have been. So I'd love to help people open up their box and be like, yeah, this is who I really am. Because we get squashed down by society or limiting beliefs or all of these things. And I love being able that I've been able to break free from all of that and the liberation that comes with it. And being able to live in a world where I see things through a lens of love has been magnificent and magical, and I want other people to experience it.
I love that. That sounds so relatable and so beautiful. So, what prompted you to migrate from that corporate America into the spiritual? Is that what created this revolutionary love program? Is that what prompted all of it?
Yes and no. I loved what I did in corporate. I did get burnout, as you can imagine. Long hours, lots of travel. I was touching people's lives. I was opening and operating drug and alcohol treatment centers, but I was only touching lives in this, again, in this box of what I was allowed to do.
Yeah.
And as I started diving more deeper into my traumas and the things that I needed to heal, I saw the limitations of how much I could really help people in the sector that I was in. I just couldn't. This is bigger than one thing or the other. So I wanted to branch out and do something that aligned more at that time. I was ready to align more with my purpose and not with my ego. So my ego told me that corporate, I had a lot of power here. I could do this, I could do that. I had the money, I had this, but I didn't have a life of love and I didn't flourish in the ways that I wanted to anymore. So it was time to move on. I had learned my lessons and I was ready to sit in a space where I could truly give people back what I had learned. And I think that's what life should be about, right? We learn, we teach each other, we grow together. It's not a one-man show. We are designed to grow in community. And I wanted to create that community where I live. I was out traveling, I was doing all these things. So I was disconnected from my tribe. My tribe was not real because it was based on business principles, which is okay. But I wanted a true community.
I get that very much. I think a lot of people can understand and relate to that. So then please do tell us about the Revolutionary Love Program, and we'll call it the RLP, and generally the variety of different methodologies used for healing and teaching.
The beautiful thing about this program is it helps us remove the old patterns that we develop from 0 to 12 years old. That's where our imprints start. And then we re-imprint every 10 years with those same patterns until we break them. Who the hell remembers what happened at 2 years old that created this thing in me that tells me that I can't love fully? We don't. We typically don't. The beautiful part of this, it's all related to our chakra system. So it is in relationship to that. Our chakra system is really a gateway to our deeper psychic nature and how we're created. It's a big part of that puzzle. It offers great insight to our patterns, our behaviors, and beliefs that shape us and how we perceive ourselves and our lives. So we use kinesiology, which is muscle testing, to test in to see where those pattern ages began for you or where they got imprinted. We go through each chakra doing that, related to different emotions that hinder us from being fully liberated in that chakra to live that life of full love. And we use acupressure points to release those patterns that are ingrained in our body. So if you think about it, our mind will tell us, okay, I got to overcome this. So we fight to overcome it. And then our body's not connected to the bridge of it. So then it's this disconnection. That's why that mind over matter, it really doesn't resonate with a lot of us because we're just pushing and pushing. So this allows us to connect our mind and body. We've released it, and then we can live fuller in love. So it is a 12-week program. We learn about relationship imprints, claiming our needs, our wants, deal breakers. It's really amazing to me because as a practitioner, I had to go through the program. And when I was asked what my needs were, I was like, hell, what do I know? I learned in that moment that what I did in relationship most often was come with a resume. This is what I can do for you. This is how I can be good for you. And RLP teaches us that we have to meet our own needs first. We want to then bring in, with the law of attraction, right, at this point, other people who have their needs met, another person, whether it's a partner, a friend, business partner, anybody. And then we come together, I'm me, you're you, and we come together in partnership and we make conscious decisions on how we're going to relate together. right? It's not about me saying, I have to people please you because then you'll stay. So it helps us release our fears, our abandonment issues, helps us identify our attachment patterns too. Yeah, those are a big thing. So when you understand your attachment style, so by the way, only 49% of us have secure attachment styles. So that's half of the population is running around with other ones. When you understand your attachment style, you understand why you're attracting sometimes a partner that doesn't work for you, right? Understanding that you learn that you can't fix other people. You have to accept yourself, then you accept other people. And you become aware of your types and your patterns so that you can break those. It just recently it happened for me where I was in this pattern of bringing in people I had to take care of. And then I was like, why am I doing this? And so this is the beauty of RLP too. It's like this gradual romance with yourself where you start making these choices to love yourself more and say, this isn't acceptable anymore. It's not sensationalized in that, okay, it's done. And then you just live. You continue to learn, but we should, right? Because the more we learn, the more we can pass on to others. And the more we can help other people lovingly learn that boundaries aren't a way to keep people out. They're a way to teach people how to love us. I thought my walls were, that was my armor. Hey, you can't come past here. And now I've learned, okay, boundaries can be beautiful and loving. The program isn't only about breaking patterns. It's also about teaching you how to walk in love. There's an educational component to it too. We're not just saying, okay, let me release these patterns out of your body. Then we teach you how to use healthy nonviolent communication, how to identify attachment patterns, how to foster trust, openness, and secure connection, and walk in this beauty of life and having more fulfilling relationship with yourself first. Now, this is the key. How do I have a good relationship with myself so I can have good relationship with other people? And being able to unapologetically be who the hell you are. And if someone doesn't match that, it's okay. We all fear rejection, I think, at some point, right? So we avoid difficult conversations because we're like, well, what if the answer is no? What if they really don't want me? So in this program, you learn that it's not a rejection when somebody says no. It means that we're not aligned. And it's beautiful when you think about it that way. It's okay if I'm not aligned with you. I can lovingly release you, set a parameter of how you fit or don't fit in my life, and that's okay. I'm not a failure because of that, right? I have stopped asking people how they're doing because our life is about doing rather than being. Being present, feeling the feelings, knowing what's going on within yourself. So now I ask people how they're feeling because it lays really differently in the body because we learn through LLP to be first. Because when you live from a point of being, then what you do is in true correlation with what you are embodying, not what anybody else is telling you.
That does feel so much more authentic and genuine. How are you feeling? Versus, how you doing? And then they walk away.
It's like a standard, like, hey, yeah. So it really teaches us also this beauty of our language. We have beautiful words all throughout our language, but we use them in these methodical ways that we're taught. And this teaches you to rethink the way that you look at it. So if I present with being, then I naturally get what I want. And I'm not earning love because I am love. I'm presenting in love. I'm already good enough. I'm already fully who I need to be. So the beauty of that just transcends. So you get this liberation, this feeling of self-love. You learn how to communicate out of love. There's no defenses. You learn how to lovingly tell someone it's okay that we don't match up, because I know now what it is that I truly need. And I also know through the program that not one person's going to ever meet my needs but me. So, it's like sometimes the weight in relationship is expecting someone to be so much to us. But if we're already in love with ourselves, then it's like, hey, at this moment, I need this or I need that. But we have multiple people then that come into our world that help us with that.
You're not starting with open gaping holes if you already love yourself as is. Can I ask a question? What, based on some of the things that you've found as a practitioner, what is the biggest self hindrance to love, knowing from 0 to 12 is when a lot of these patterns and our foundation is formed?
I don't know that there's one, honestly, because we go through the entire chakra system. So there's typically like in one area, it's fear. And then maybe in another area, it's shame. It's a combination of some typical themes: fear, shame, illusion, not feeling good enough, not feeling loved as a child, not knowing how to accept nurturing or not getting it. So then how do I ask for it? It's really looking at each of those areas and discovering what that is. Fear would be one. Shame, guilt is typically another one that you see a lot as a hindrance. Lack of confidence. Grief is a big one. We have grief in all kinds of areas. Grief of not being loved, not being able to be a child. If you grew up always having to be an adult, then you grieve the fact that you never had a childhood, and that resonates with you over and over. Lies, meaning that what sometimes we're taught to speak isn't what really resonates with our heart, but we're told that that's the way it should be. Illusions I touched on, and then attachment. We can't be attached to people. We have to learn to be in alignment with who we are so that we have healthy connections with people. It's a whole different way of flowing when you can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. I wondered if there were recurring patterns that you were seeing, being that it seems like no matter how you dress us up, we're all the same on the inside.
I would agree, right? Each of us said, and that's why I love like sharing these stories and things that come up, because somebody's always going, oh yeah, that resonates with me. We need that, right? That's all about that
Right.
connection. We all have a certain womb that's kind of comes up when we present ourselves.
I agree. You mentioned how boundaries, if we restructure perhaps the way we look at it, it can change everything. I've had this conversation several times with Keone, actually, is I always looked at boundaries as a very harmful, harsh, rigid, cold, shameful type of thing. And in the program that helped me recognize essentially what you're saying our LP does for others as well, I have no idea how I came to this conclusion, but one day I can remember this so vividly. It was like a light bulb. And it came to me that it was not any of those things. It was my opportunity to teach people how to treat me. And since that day, that same day, I left my toxic relationship, which was years and years in progress, like it life changing, because that's when I felt like I had tangible responsibility that's not set up for failure. It was very liberating. And I love that you're talking about that. I think that's really important. And I think it ties in with that self-love. And again, using my experiences, I know a lot of why those past relationships didn't work is because I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. So how could they meet these unachievable expectations. So, as they say, hurt people hurt people. And I guess that just kind of ties everything back into what you were saying.
Yeah. What RLP does for situations like that too, conflict becomes an opportunity to grow together rather than apart, because you're communicating from a point of wanting to connect rather than wanting to separate. So often when we communicate, word can be violent. So that's why we really emphasize coaching around nonviolent communication. So things aren't about you do this or that or you're gone. It's about this is what I need and how can you meet me here?
100%. What points in someone's lives would you think would be a good fit for RLP?
Anyone can benefit from RLP, obviously, right? But they have to have this desire to do the work too. We're not like magicians here. Here's all the magic. You have homework and you have to really want it. You have to want to do the integration work, because it's not going to work if you don't. If you really want to live in compassion and you want to let go of these things that are holding you back and you're truly invested in yourself, you're perfect for it. Because we all have these wounds and these patterns that we're carrying. And if you're truly ready to let them go, step up in your worth, liberate yourself to really live the way that you feel desire to live, and you have a passion in your heart that's just telling you, I'm not there. And you want to step into it, and you want to live from a point of flow and grace and fulfillment, then the program's for you. And it helps you with love, parenting, co-raising children in a relationship with someone else. It helps you with your work relationship, your family. This is about relationship growth in all areas of your life. So who can't use improvement in anything like that? The one thing I love about the program is you step into conscious relating, which means when you step into every situation, you're consciously thinking about how you're going to relate to that other person and what is going to help you make that situation as fruitful as possible and help you make the decisions for yourself that let you know this is for me or it isn't. So when you're consciously relating, you don't look at another person and go, how am I going to fix them to fit them in my life? You look at them and you go, I love you for who you are, but this isn't acceptable to me. This isn't how I want to be treated. Conscious relating is such a beautiful experience because you're really tapping into your higher self.
It's interesting that you say that, actually. I have memory issues that I struggle with, as you so well articulated. If I'm consciously relating, I am likely to remember that conversation, even years later. It doesn't have to be just 5 minutes. Even if I think I'm actively listening, I'm listening. I'm just not processing. It is.
Yeah, because we learn to listen to the things that aren't present. We learn to see the things that we're not normally looking at. And we learn to listen to our own intuition in our own bodies. You know, that gut feeling you get when something doesn't feel right and we go, oh, I'm going to plow through this anyway because I want this relationship or this situation to work. It's about being able to go, okay, and stop and pause. You know, we're always running. So this is about presence, right? I'm present in this moment. This person said this, and I felt something uncomfortable in my throat. What does that tell me about myself? I just love being able to help people learn how to incorporate that into their living.
I think what you both said was really crucial and something I've noticed. My mom is 86 years old. My sister and I were beginning to notice that my mom had memory issues. And so she's older. So the first thing we're thinking is, oh no, dementia, brain issues. What's going on? Could this be potential dementia, Alzheimer's? And we took her to a specialist, had her tested, and all of those things were ruled out. The two things that were not ruled out was one, she had a hearing deficit. So that makes sense. The second thing is she never really listened. And how many of us don't really listen? So I really like that term conscious relating, because I know for a fact probably 75% of our relationships with others is done on a very superficial level.
Yeah. So, when we release that and we come to the table rooted in love and saying to yourself and looking at other people as part of that pathway, then it opens up a whole new level of connection. It's not about attaching to other people. It's about relating to them. And that attachment is the root of all suffering.
Absolutely.
Right? If I get that phone call, I'll be happy because he called, right? Or if this person says this, then it's going to bring me happiness. If we're already living in happiness, then...
Can I ask a quick question about what you've noticed about somatic responses? You and I are the same age, Melissa. People of our generation and older, we didn't pay as much attention to our somatic responses, if ever, unless we were dying. Or was that just my life? Like,
I hear you.
You did not call out of work unless you were close to dead. And then that had to be within a 24-hour time frame, right? I'm not saying that we were taught to avoid somatic response as much as I don't think we paid any attention to it. I think it's amazing at how many modalities today are giving that somatic response its due. Because you said something to me in the podcast interview that we had together. I think it's even the name of a book, Your Body Holds the Score. I mean, somehow it remembers things that you and I can't put together. So have you noticed that people of a certain age or different generations have been holding on to things longer or differently than maybe people in other generations? And if so, how do we fix this?
Yeah, I think it's a yes and no answer. I think that a lot of it does have to do with environment, right? If we're taught to communicate our emotions and our feelings, then we respond differently. Our generation certainly was taught to just toughen up and move ahead and not pay attention to those gut feelings or the things that didn't feel right to us. We were just taught to do it, or to not say the things that we weren't allowed to say because we were supposed to be prim and proper, or we weren't supposed to be fluid about who we are, right? So I do believe that it is harder for our generation to step out of that and to freely express ourselves, which also causes this greater disconnect between us as individuals, because then we have a harder time relating to a younger generation who's more adept to saying, this doesn't feel good to me. And we're like, just toughen up. What are you worried about? So it's one of the reasons why I brought somatic movement into my classes here, because I wanted people to learn how to listen to our body's response to holding trauma and be able to release it and connect again, right? This connection between the mind and the body that we're not in tune to. There's a reason why a lot of women have hip issues. It's not just about body mechanics. We have a lot in our sacral area. Why is my hip always bothering me?
I definitely can relate and agree. That's how I was raised. And also being prior military, that's very much the mindset that I've worked a lot to help reprogram and restructure so that it's not so detrimental to my mindset and my physical health and the people around me.
There's also this concept of vulnerability, right? Nobody wants to be vulnerable. But why is vulnerable a bad word? Being vulnerable is about stepping into who you really are and saying, these things aren't good for me. And that's okay for me to set that limit. But vulnerabilities become removing your armor when you're vulnerable. Don't do it. Don't do it. I lived there for a long ass time. Stay over there. I'm not telling you I have emotions. The hell with that. But this program allows you to dance with your emotions, honor them, but not sit in shit. I did that for years where I would fight my emotions so much that then I would implode into this shitstorm of, oh my God. It would just be this like war of dramatic, you know, mounts. And then, then I would suck it all in and go back out in soldier mode. So this is about honoring the fact that, yeah, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to figure out what to do with it. And I'm going to move the fuck on because staying rooted in that stuff really sucks. I wanted to talk a little bit about also the program bringing more intimacy into our lives. A lot of people relate intimacy with sex, but intimacy is about this beautiful dance with other people where we build true connection. It's about honoring who each other are and coming together in this beautiful space. How many times have we said in a love relationship, I want more intimacy? He doesn't love on me enough, or that intimacy in this program is really more about being in touch with your sensual side and know it and being able to be vulnerable and saying, I need that hug. I need someone to just listen to me for 5 freaking minutes. That's true intimacy. I need someone to know sometimes when I'm avoiding something, I just need a hug or I need 5 minutes to myself. That is a beautiful part of this program as well. And I learned a lot about intimacy on a different level.
Yeah, you can't have intimacy without that vulnerability to begin with. From my experience, when I listened to my first TED Talk and I heard Brené Brown, and it was all about vulnerability, I think that ingrained and changed who I was so deeply that I try to use my vulnerability as the opening of a safe space with people, as long as I do know that they're not serial killers off the side of the road type of thing. But I try to lead with vulnerability. I have been able to build and create a safer, stable, intimate relationships with mostly myself, but that somehow reverberated into everybody in my little circle.
It's about learning to honor our feelings and honor other people's feelings and flow through them and know that it's okay to own who we are 100%.
I'm just Jane Smith off the street who is finding common patterns and struggles. We've already determined that's as long as I'm committed to myself, I would be the prime candidate. So I log in, I purchase this amazing program. What does that look like? Is it all Zoom? Is it multiple instructors, one instructor? Can you run us through that?
Yeah. First, you have to complete an application to be part of the program. You just can't register. So you would contact us and say you'd like the application. We would send it to you. Then we would set up an intake call with you. Di and I usually do those together, but you pick one practitioner to work with. So that consistency is really important. We ask that you choose one practitioner, whoever that is that you'd like to work with. We both offer sessions. So Di does sessions in Lewis. She'll do them here in Dover too, if anybody wants to meet her here. If she can schedule it in, because it is a drive for her, and via Zoom. I do my sessions in the Dover office or Zoom if someone would prefer that. So it doesn't have to be in person unless that's what the client wants. The sessions are typically 2 hours long, once a week. So we ask that the person be able to commit to the same time each week, just so that we can keep our schedule, because it is a large commitment for us off of our calendar too. So it's 12 weeks long with that weekly sessions. And after the intake process, if the person feels like the program still aligns with them, then we'll admit them into the program and we'll start it usually that following week. We are very invested in making sure the person is able to make the time commitment, do the integration work before we'll accept them into the program.
I'd like to switch gears a little bit because I really want to talk about the practitioner training. What would be the ideal practitioner? What does it take to become a practitioner?
The first thing is, do you love helping others transform their relationships? That's what drew me to this, right? Do you want to really make substantial, sustainable change in people's lives? Because this isn't a Band-Aid. This is something that changes someone's life forever. And I love that about the program. So we absolutely want practitioners who are invested in giving someone something that is forever going to transform their lives. It is a transformation. It's a phenomenal change process. If you really want to guide people to deeper love, self-love, and deeper intimacy in relationships, I mean, this is for you. It's about having that passion to really watch someone shed all of that old shit and rise up like a freaking phoenix. It is the most beautiful thing to see. If that's something that makes your heart freaking sing, then yeah, you would be a good practitioner. And you have to be able to hold space for people while they do this. Definitely no judgment zone here. People are going through some emotional stuff with this. And it is a level up for someone who's already a coach. It's definitely one of those things that you have to invest a lot of time in learning. And you have to be willing to dig into your own shit and experience it yourself. So part of the training is going through the program, obviously, right? So I got to tell you, when I went through this, I had some big aha moments. It was like, wow, I cannot believe I was that person. You think that you've grown. And then you go through this and you're like, oh, well, hell, I was a little baby. I was still acting like a fucking child. So yeah, if you're ready to also own your own shit 100%, then yeah, this is for you. And it's a commitment. Gosh, I knew it was going to be a commitment. But then when I got into it, I was like, wow, because you're learning like how to melt Eastern and Western medicine and learning how to melt together traditional Chinese medicine with psychology and wellness and all of these things. And you have to be willing to coach people through how to do these things themselves too. Yeah, that's all of it together. I don't know. I get excited when I talk about it because it's been the most profound for me gift of change in my life. And it's so beautiful to live in this space right now that I have in my body. So if you're a practitioner who not only wants to help other people, but wants to show up 110% for yourself, then this is for you.
Love that. And would somebody be able to fold this into potentially their current practices? What does that look like?
Yeah. So what happens, I still incorporate other modalities that I have learned into what I do. So one of the beautiful things is you can do what we call RLP theme sessions. So they're based on situations or experiences. So if somebody's not ready for the entire experience of the program, so an example may be somebody who comes to you and they've had a fallout with their family and they're really having a hard time getting over it. And they want to kind of release that. Because you're an RLP trained practitioner, you could use your kinesiology. We teach you the different theme sessions that you can use and how to do them. And we would be available for you. Like if a situation came up and you're like, I know this is RLP, but I'm not sure how to structure the session, we can help you with that. I also offer RLP theme sessions for situational things that may happen. So you can use the sessions to help them break free of a fear of maybe opening a business if they just want to do that one little piece. Or I have this fear of something happening to me, you can help them with that. So the list is limitless. I mean, you can apply this in any area of a practice. Absolutely. Yeah.
I was going to ask you a little bit about what that looks like. Also, how did going through the program help you? Because I would think having that, what you've talked about, oh my God, I was such a baby, I didn't even know it, as far as being on my journey, would be super helpful from a practitioner standpoint.
Yeah, I think it really did. I felt like I was living authentically, and then it just really helped me raise that level of awareness and that level of being able to truly embody the love for myself that I was struggling. I knew I was trying and I was doing it, but the struggle kind of subsides. You get these insights quicker and you just kind of move on. For a long time, it was like, oh, I gotta love myself. Here I go, loving myself. Now it's like, okay, I see how I can do it and I'm embodying it. And the things that were triggers go away. They minimize. So all of those old triggers that might have made me regress and go back and forth. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to continue to love myself. Sorry, bye. In a very nonviolent way. That was my quick way of saying it. But it's enabled me to, I feel like, teach people even a deeper level of self-love throughout my life, not just in my practice. When you come to the table like this, it's like ripple effect. You just find that other people around you naturally just start relaxing into you differently. And it's not about what you can do for them because you're not doing anymore. You're just being. So your presence becomes more relaxed and more involved and just more loving all around.
Are there different levels of practitioner?
There's one level, there's different ways that you can pay for the certification, but there's one practitioner level at this point. It is a commitment. It is weekly sessions. It's about a 10 to 12 hour a week commitment. So it's 4 hours in person or online, and then 4 hours of reading and learning modules. And as you're going through the program, you're doing your integration work. So you have to make that time commitment. So you do have to structure your time to really fit it all in. It's well worth it. But I have to admit, I'm a student at heart. If I'm learning, I am happy as a lark. It doesn't matter how many hours I'm in it. So I'm reading and learning new things I love. So there is a lot of reading materials and other trainings that we incorporate into the process. It takes about 12 weeks.
Is it still a requirement that a practitioner also become a client and a student of the actual program? Is student the right word?
Well, part of learning it is going through the program. So that's part of it. So as you're going through, I am doing a session with you so you learn, and then it's reverse. So that's how it works.
That is such a win.
So you get the benefits of the program and become a practitioner.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that the different modalities are from very different philosophies and theologies, because you're looking at Western, you're also looking at Eastern practices and just approaches, which sounds to me like you picked the best of all of these things and kind of put together a program that addresses us from head to toe or inside to out.
Yeah, it really aligned with me because I always think that people shouldn't recreate the wheel because we integrate some things from the spiral program too. So it's really about taking the pieces of what is already out there and collaborating them into a program that gives you the most you can out of it. So you're getting a little bit of everything in the one. Yeah. It's like a buffet of beauty.
I would take a buffet of beauty any day, as long as I don't have to go through the steps of loving myself.
Oh, well, you got to. Sorry. That's part of the requirement.
Do you know how hard that is? Oh, yes, you do.
I do. You know what I'm always perplexed by is that we really don't understand what it means to love ourselves. It's this concept that people look at me like I have two heads every time I say it. But it is really kind of simple and not at the same time. It's like, okay, how am I going to love myself?
Right. I think that's actually a big topic in itself. I mean, when I hear that phrase alone, my brain just starts going crazy like the old ticker.
I think we could even look at it and maybe remove the loving yourself piece and just say, how do we connect with ourselves? Understand how to communicate our needs and understand how to really get in touch with all of those components of our body that work in unison from our crown chakra down to our root and back up. And that is a dance of self-love. So if you remove that concept of what is self-love and just say it's about understanding how I can be present, maybe it removes some of that. Ooh, what is all of that?
There's so many things that really interested me when we were first talking about this. But I think one of the things is that while it would be wonderful for my partner or my child and I, or whomever, to go through this program together, it allows you to learn so much about yourself that if that other individual can't, won't, whatever the situation is, you still have to go back to it. And the only one, like you said in the very beginning, that you can rely on as being that foundation is you. So whether you're going back to a crappy situation or just someone who isn't interested or busy or for whatever reason can't participate, it gives you that foundation to continue forward on a healthy path on your own.
Yeah. And then also when we show up differently, other people tend to show up differently. So there still can be some natural things that may occur in other relationships in your life. And I'm not saying that that means that they all stay, but what it does mean is it gives you an opportunity to adjust that relationship or change the dynamic with the ways that you've learned to express yourself and embody yourself. So that may encourage the other person to make changes. It may not be as dramatic as you have done through your program, but it can sometimes make a change in how the relationship does relate and how the two people can come together.
I think so much of our lives, especially those of us who didn't grow up with social media right at our fingertips, or even computers, or even push button phones. Well, let's even go that far. To us, community meant something very different. And it wasn't readily available, meaning you had to go somewhere in order to be with other people. And I also think that we grew up in a time period that may have done us a disservice, being the message of what happens in your house stays in your house. This is personal business, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be anything super nefarious. It could just be like an argument your parents had, and the kid goes to school and, of course, tells everybody. And you're like, you don't say that. That's private information. So a lot of that I get. But I also think a lot of that ends up becoming some sort of a secrecy or a veiled appearance of who we are to other people. And so when you said that community is so important and tribe is so important, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you've seen evolve, because I feel like we're shifting towards a way more openness with each other that goes more than just what we had for dinner and posting that, feeling more comfortable talking about traumatic things that may have happened to them.
Yeah, I think that to your point, really sharing things that have happened to us has opened up a lot over time. It's still hard sometimes with different generations like ours. The younger ones are usually like, yeah, hey, this happened, that happened. But I think for me, community has allowed me to open up. Without it, it was easy to say in this space of, I'm not going to tell anyone because there's nobody there to support me anyway. I'm just going to stay in my little space of not talking about it. And then the more that you get around community And the more that we start loosening up and sharing, the more it naturally happens. And that healing starts to become part of the transition with everyone involved, because one person says, this happened, then another person is like, I'm feeling this way. And it just allows us all to openly share our vulnerability, which is beautiful.
Do you have some words of guidance for us, Melissa?
Always step into loving yourself more. Invest in having real talk, real conversations with people, growing authentically, and always allowing yourself room to grow, make mistakes, as well as other people.
Love that. That's great. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for diving into the depths with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, show your support at buymeacoffee.com/mystical mermaid lounge, as every little ripple helps keep the magic flowing. Would you like some more deep, soul yearning conversations? Well, then swim on over to our sister podcast, Past Lives Cafe, where Keone deep dives into those past life experiences. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Please don't forget to rate and review and drop your feedback and comments at our website, mysticalmermaidlounge.buzzsprout.com. Thank you again so much, and don't forget to catch us at the next high tide. Bye-bye.